This is Season Long Baller. How are you doing? We're doing Season Long Podcast number 75 as we do a little bit of a shoot around here. And we've done this a few times on our little podcast. We shoot the breeze, shoot the rock a little bit. And we'll talk about the NBA season that is coming up for the NBA. It is starting tomorrow. And for the Wizards, it'll start 2 days from now on Wednesday. And we'll talk about what we've got coming up with Season Long Baller this season. Now, as you know, if you're new to the channel, welcome. And thank you very much for joining. And what we do is we play the entire 82-game schedule of the Washington Wizards through our player build, number 4 here, Jaymont Summerz. And we are working on our jump shot, among other things. But we'll talk about what the Wizards lineup might possibly look like this season. And that is a question I've had during all of our preseason games, which, by the way, we played our last preseason game of the season this past Saturday against the 94-95 New York Knicks. And we always play our preseason game against classic NBA teams that you determine in our polls. And again, thank you for participating in those. So this is the 4th season that we have been doing the full season of the Washington Wizards. Oh, I'm glad I didn't miss that. And taking a look at what the lineup has looked like back in NBA 2K23, you can see that we started with, of course, that was the rookie season for Summerz. Bradley Beal was your shooting guard. Kristaps Porzingis in the middle. Started with Rui Hachimura at the 3, but then we went to Denny Avdia a little bit later on in the season, probably pretty early in the season actually, and then Kyle Kuzma at the 4. And you see the reserves, Monte Morris, Daniel Gafford, and the guy that was not starting between Hachimura and Avdia. Now, this is the way we started the entire Season Long Baller channel, is that Monte Morris was the starting point guard for the Wizards that season. And we decided that, obviously, if you're going to put in a player build at the point guard, well, we didn't want to put him on a team that was very good, and then second, a team that had a young point guard, and third, a team that had, say, a really hot prospect that they were going to play a lot, like a Scoot Henderson from Portland at the time. Remember, this is a few seasons ago now. So Monte Morris and the Wizards fit all of those descriptions. No offense to Monte Morris, who is a good player. And so Summerz became the starting point guard, and that is what we did on NBA 2K23. So taking a look at that again on NBA 2K23, and then taking it to the next season on NBA 2K24, DeLon Wright started most of the season at the shooting guard position, replacing Jordan Poole. We moved to the bench, good sixth man, because there weren't going to be a lot of shots for Poole obviously with me on the floor. And if you're wondering about how in the world is Alperen Şengün starting at the center position, well, earlier, about, a third of the season, the way through, the Wizards on the game, and again, I'm not making the trades. If the computer proposes it, I can, I guess decide. But for the most part, I'm not the GM. So I didn't propose the trade. But Şengün the Rockets offered Şengün for Corey Kispert. And considering that Gafford was starting at the center, and I think Gafford was better served as from last season, as you saw when we had Porzingis in the middle, I think that having Gafford come off the bench was a better use for Gafford, and it gave us a little bit more size. So, yes, that's not at all what the real Wizards look like, of course. But now you can look at this lineup, and I think it was a little better with Summerz, Wright, Şengün, Avdia, and Kuzma. Kuzma again at the 4. And Wright played pretty well all season, 6'5", shooting guard, and again, didn't need his offense, but good defender. Had a really good game against Phoenix in our simulation, where he played pretty good defense in a key moment against against Booker. So definitely like the idea of Wright at the shooting guard. But remember, every season when the rosters change, then obviously our roster changes as well. So that was the 2K24 lineup. And by the way, at this point, we were now an 85 overall after being a 78 in our rookie season. So we have progressed as this has gone on as well. And for this latest player progression, check out Season Long Podcast number 74, which we did back in, I think, late July or early August. I am having a really bad time here talking and trying to shoot this. This is looking bad. I am not hitting any of these shots. And by the way, last season, or maybe I'll wait till we get to 2K25 to talk about that. But on 2K24, I was using Danny Green's release and trying to think of who the base was. I can't remember who my base was right now on 2K24. I'd have to look that up. I don't remember right now who the base was. But Danny Green was the upper release 1 and upper release 2. And I think that was the best I shot from deep. I was really feeling the release from Green. We'll talk about that in a minute as we get to 2K25 here in a moment. And right now, I am not shooting this well at all. Wait, maybe I need to shut up. There we go. So I can hit some more of these shots. Now, for 2K25, last season, Summerz, Coulibaly, Valanciunas, Kyle Kuzma at the 3, and I know Kuzma was traded during the season in real life to the Milwaukee Bucks, and Alex Sarr, number 2 overall draft pick in the draft in the lottery that year for the Wizards, starts at the 4. And again, I know that is pretty different than what the Wizards have had, what the Wizards have done with Sarr over the last portion of last season and what they're going to do this season, where he's going to start at the center. And Valanciunas was traded mid-season as well, along with Kuzma. Coulibaly moving to the 2. This was a really, I think for a video game, I think this was a really good lineup in terms of defense, because you have Summerz at 6'5", Coulibaly at 6'8", Valanciunas at 6'10", Kuzma at 6'9", and Sarr at 7 foot. Long, lanky defenders. And as I have said a few times, I don't think Alex Sarr is big enough or strong enough yet to handle Giannis Antetokounmpo. But on a video game with that kind of size, it's not that bad a matchup as you would think. And speaking of Antetokounmpo, we will get our first look at him early on, as the Wizards will begin the season on the road on Wednesday against the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. Now, what I was about to say about this shooting is, last season on 24, I went with Kobe Bryant as my release, because I figured Danny Green would not be the release on 25. On 25, I went with Kobe Bryant. And I figured that because Danny Green had retired, he's not going to be on the game, I'm sure, as a release that much longer, if he's even on now. So I figured I was going to have to get used to a new release, and I went with Kobe Bryant. And sorry, Kobe fans, I don't know. I just wasn't quite getting it. I had some moments, but I just never felt totally comfortable with the Kobe Bryant release. So this season right now, I'm working with DeAndre Hunter as the release. And I think I've had some better results using Hunter at times. I mean, of course, right on cue, I made one and missed one. Now 1 out of 3. But I did so far I have liked Hunter's release a little bit better. But I do realize you're right. How long will Hunter's release be on the game? That's a really legit question. I will probably be looking for another release not too long from now, most likely. But overall, I did like that lineup that we had last season for the Wizards. And you see Malcolm Brogdon was a backup, basically the 6th man. Jordan Poole was a 6th man as well. It was weird because of a certain point where Brogdon was injured and Poole was injured. one or the other was the first guy off the bench most point of the season, and there was a point where both of them were getting votes for sixth man of the year in our simulation. So that's interesting. You usually don't see that happen. And then Bagley the third was the first big off the bench acquired from the Pistons. Is that where he came from? No, I think he came from Memphis. Part of the deal that ended up with Marcus Smart coming to the Wizards, and of course Smart is now out with the Lakers, and Valanciunas is now backing up Joker in Denver. Kuzma, as we mentioned, is in Milwaukee. So when we start this season, the funny thing will be that the veteran for the Wizards starting lineup will be Jaymont Summerz, a 4-year starter for the Wizards. And that will be interesting because the question I've had the whole time is who is going to be the backup? Who's going to be the backup? Who's going to be the starting power forward? That is what I've wondered the whole time. And I'm still not sure what the Wizards are going to do. I've seen some depth charts saying that Bilal Coulibaly may start at the 4. Rosters were made official at 5 p.m. Eastern time yesterday, and I am thinking we'll see an official upload from 2K, and then that is when we will solidify. You'll see solidified rosters, depth charts, and all of that. So the NBA season begins on Tuesday officially. Thunder Rockets at, I think it's 6 or 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Lakers Warriors, I believe that's at 10 p.m. Eastern. That's your opening night. The Wizards will be playing on Wednesday, as I mentioned, against Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. And so who's going to be starting at the 4 that's going to get the honor of guarding Antetokounmpo? Well, I am not sure. So we will see. Our lineup, I have said a few times that maybe I should just go away from the lineup that the real Wizards use unless they use a lineup that is pretty close to mine. The preseason games that we've played, we started our first preseason game a few weeks ago live Saturday, about 3 weeks ago against the LA Clippers, the Lob City LA Clippers. Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, JJ Redick, the current Lakers coach. And then our next preseason 2 weeks ago, we played on Saturday 2 weeks ago. We played the LA Lakers, classic LA Lakers. I think that was, 85, 86, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Byron Scott. And then 2 days ago on Saturday, we played the 94-95 New York Knicks. Charles Oakley, Patrick Ewing, John Starks, and company. But I have been impressed with Cam Whitmore, who the Wizards acquired in the offseason from the Rockets. And I actually like the idea of possibly having 6'7" Cam Ward start. I'm Cam Ward, the Titans quarterback. Cam Whitmore starting at the 2. And since I made a mistake there and referenced Cam Ward, I think that's a good time for me to say, hey, look, I love talking sports all the time, mainly NFL, NBA, talk a little basketball. Check out our Discord. We talk all things sports. And no matter who your favorite team is, we can always talk about your favorite team. So if you're a Titans fan, I hope Cam Ward develops. And it's been pretty rough there for the Titans, I will say that. So anyhow, Cam Whitmore has been impressive in our preseason games, and I wasn't really looking at it as an audition per se, but the times I've put him in, he's kind of produced. It's kind of made me think maybe he should start at the 2. Maybe Bilal Coulibaly at the 3. Marvin Bagley the 3rd at the 4. I know he's a center, and that's kind of not his position. And Alex Sarr at the 5. Now, should I put Sarr like I did last season at the 4 and Bagley at the 5? Maybe, but I guess I would kind of be sticking with the real Wizards if I actually keep Sarr at the 5 and Bagley at the 4 because I like the idea of the bigger size in the Wizards lineup. And I think it would be, I guess the first big off the bench would be, what is his name, Vucevic? Tristan Vucevic, I think. I have to go back and look at his name. Vucevic, I believe it is. But I'll have that right on opening day. He's 7 foot. I think the Wizards like him, so maybe he will see some time, but we will see what this lineup looks like, and then we'll kind of base ours off of that. I suspect the real Wizards are going to play a lot of Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum. There were rumors that McCollum was going to be possibly a trade candidate to the Rockets after Fred VanVleet got injured, but I don't think that is what's going to happen, or at least not at the beginning of the season. It's not going to happen. I think the Rockets are going to see what they have in maybe, I don't know what, Reed Shepherd, maybe? I don't know if he's a one, but maybe they're thinking that. They might let Thompson, they have Amon Thompson, right? Let him, do they have a sir? I'm getting them mixed up now, but they might have Thompson initiate the offense some, and of course they still have Kevin Durant who can handle the rock as well at times. So that's what I think the Rockets may do. We'll see opening night tomorrow what they're going to do. But for the Wizards, I really am kind of liking the idea of that lineup. And you can bring McCollum and Middleton off of the Wizards bench. So we'll see. We are the defending champions in the simulation. We've gone back to back. And we will do the ring ceremony during the Wizards home opener, which is going to be against the Hornets on Sunday. Yes, on next Sunday. That'll be the opening for the home opener for the Wizards. And we'll have that ring ceremony that we have done the past couple seasons as well. So that's going to do it for Season Long Podcast number 75. Again, really quickly, thank you for joining us for this podcast, and we will have all of our preseason games down in the description below. You can check out those live broadcasts. Again, Lob City Clippers, Showtime Lakers, and the 94-95 New York Knicks. Again, thank you if you voted in those. Tomorrow is the beginning of the actual NBA season, and again, it's Thunder Rockets followed by Lakers Warriors, and then the Wizards and our season start up as we usually mirror the actual Washington Wizards schedule. That starts up on Wednesday as the Wizards will travel to Milwaukee to take on Giannis and the Bucks. That's going to do it for Season Long Baller. If you like what we do on the channel, go ahead and give us that like, subscribe, and follow. Give me a comment below. It is much appreciated. We'll get out of here as soon as I hit a couple more jumpers. Thank you very much, and we will see you on Wednesday in Milwaukee against the Bucks. That's it for Season Long Baller. Peace.